Hey guys, I'm Mason, and this is Wrestling in the Dark, the only professional wrestling podcast brought to you by a blind wrestling fan. NXT Takeover 25 is this weekend, and that means that it's time for fantasy versus reality. This is the way that I do my predictions. It's what I would do versus what I think they'll do. Which one will be better? What will happen at NXT Takeover 25? If you want to find out, stick with me as I go through my predictions for this weekend's pay-per-view. How is it that before a takeover, I always feel like it could be one of the best takeovers there's ever been? God damn, am I excited for this card. I've just been thinking all week about what I'd do and how good it could be, so I'm really excited to finally get down to this. But at the request of Discord's pizza expert, Armour Arcana, I've got to say, as long as I beat Dash and RJ Meltzer, I don't really care how well I do, because I just want to do better than those guys, because quite honestly it would make me sick if they did better than me. And with that requested burial, I'd like to then move on to what I would probably start the pay-per-view with. It's Riddle versus Strong. Matt Riddle versus Roderick Strong. And I am really excited for this match. I love all the Undisputed Era drama that's going on right now. I'm really into Matt Riddle's character, and I think this could be an absolutely solid match. So let's start with what I would go with. So I'd be wanting to kick off a little bit of a storyline here. So I think, even though it probably wouldn't be the best decision for Riddle, I'd probably have Strong go over here. I think that having Riddle been attacked a couple of weeks ago by Strong, it just sets up a nice story for what they can do in the match. Strong can just work Riddle's back and his ribs the entire time. Riddle keeps firing back with those strong, aggressive moves that he's got, keeps trying to bring the game to the ground, keeps trying for those submissions, hits some of those gut-wrench suplexes, etc. But every time Riddle just manages to take a shot at his ribs or take a shot at his back, and throughout the match it's just getting harder and harder for Riddle. You're wondering, how the hell is he going to, how can he even move right now? How can he breathe with the punishment that his back and ribs have been taking? And you just got to really, if you want Riddle to come out of this match still looking good, but with the loss, you've really got to have Strong have a strong performance in this match. He needs to probably be the strongest book member of Undisputed Era in this pay-per-view, or at least that's the way that I would do it. So yeah, for me, it would be Riddle coming out on top after brutally working Riddle's back and ribs throughout the match, sending him into the barricade, just quick jabs and kicks, submissions, stretching him out, grinding him down. I just think I think it would lend itself nicely to the story that I'd want to tell throughout the rest of the night. So what do I think they would do? Now, it's hard, because I'm not sure whether they're on the same page as I am. It's really hard to tell with TakeOver and with WWE in general, is like if you're on the same page as they are, because, I've sat there and thought about what I want to happen at this pay-per-view and sort of done my own little fantasy booking. But, at the same time, I could just be... It's just a matter of taste, and I could just be completely wrong and completely off the mark. It's really hard to decide what I think will actually happen. But I'm not sure they're going to want Riddle to lose 2 pay-per-views in a row. It's sort of hard. I always hate actually coming to the prediction part, because I'm always so confident right before, and then I come into it and I'm like, no, I'm not actually as sure as I thought I was. But oh, my heart says Strong and my head says Riddle. Screw it. I will go with I'm going with Strong. I'm going to say that I'm on the same page as WWE here. Hopefully, fantasy versus reality sort of meets itself here. Yeah. I still don't feel particularly comfortable with it, but I'm going to go with Strong with the win, but I definitely think I'm wrong. Next up, I want to talk about the Women's Championship match. This should be an absolutely cracking one. The build of Baszler versus Io Shirai has been really, really good. Bringing out that super aggression of Io Shirai with the kendo stick a couple of weeks ago. Really, really enjoyed it, and I'm properly looking forward to this match. So, fantasy, where would I go? So, you've got the friends in this match. You've got Jessamine Duke, Marina Shafir, and you've got Candice LeRae coming to back up Io Shirai. Where I would go with this is probably have the horsewoman come into play quite a lot, Baszler taking it to the outside quite a lot, rolling out, ref distractions, dirty tactics. Candice keeps trying to get involved and help Io. Eventually, though, I think that I would have her do something that the ref would notice. They send Candice backstage. So then Io Shirai's left on her own. What's she going to do? Then I would have Baszler take it to her for a little bit, have her dominate that stretch of the match until Io gets some sort of small counter in, turns the tides. But then one of the horsewomen distracts the ref, the other attacks Io. Then I think for the finish of this match, I really want the feeling of the odds being stacked against Io, and I personally probably wouldn't give her the title yet. I really like Baszler as the champion. I'd like to see her more come up around Survivor Series time, and let's face it, once she loses that championship, I think she's probably on her way out. And I don't think that they will end this feud yet either, and I probably wouldn't. I think there's more that you can draw out of it. So what I would probably want to do is have some point where Baszler, Duke and Shafir are all going after her, and Io's left with no choice but to whip out the kendo stick, take it to Baszler, and just really beat her senseless with it, and take out her frustrations, get herself DQ'd. They've sort of hinted that sort of thing could happen with asking Baszler on NXT if she thinks that Io will wail on her with a kendo stick again, and Baszler saying that it's not allowed in that match. So I think having that have something to do with the finish would be fairly interesting. So Io getting herself DQ'd, or have it look like Io's about to beat Shayna and have either Jessamine Duke or Marina Shafir come over and hit Io with the cane and get Baszler disqualified. I think basically I would go with the DQ finish, but I wouldn't really want it to be the heels attacking. I think it'd be much more interesting if Io Shirai was just at that desperation point of like, I have no friends, these three are teaming up on me, I have nothing left to do for my self-preservation other than just go wild with this kendo stick. And that way you can probably carry on the programme a little bit. So that's my fantasy prediction. I would have Baszler come out on top by basically forcing Io Shirai to cheat. I think that would be a really interesting way to go. As for what they will do, I really don't know with this one, because it really depends, doesn't it, whether they want to keep Baszler down in NXT or not, or whether they want to call her up. But I've just got this feeling that they want to keep her down there until Duke and Shafir are ready. So I still think that Baszler might come out on top, but I'm just trying to think about what my other predictions are here to make that balance. But you know what? I think for the way that I would be booking things, oh Jesus, I really do struggle with these. You know what? I'm gonna say that they'll go with Io Shirai. I think that's where they're gonna go with it, but that's not what I would do. And I think it'll probably be a really, really good match. The vacant NXT Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way Ladder Match. Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan versus the Forgotten Sons versus the Street Profits versus Undisputed Era. Yes, I did it. I really expected my tongue to get really tied. This one will be crazy. It's something that I'm really, really looking forward to, because this whole pay-per-view, actually, I'm really looking forward to. It's so close to Double or Nothing that it's going to be fresh in everyone's minds. It's going to be fresh in my mind, and it's going to be interesting looking at the two shows back to back. I don't think it's really fair to compare main roster and AEW, because they're basically different genres. It's like people who try and compare something like GTA and Saints Row. They are essentially, although they're based on the same concept, the same sort of style, they're different genres, and that's how I feel about main roster and AEW, as opposed to Takeover. That's more where the competition lies. That's more where I would expect them to take a few more shots at NXT, at AEW, sorry. And really, the people on this card are going to feel like they've got something to prove, and I just really think that it's going to be an absolute barn burner, this pay-per-view. This match in particular, again, I'm really looking forward to it, because it's the only multi-man match on the show. Now, anyone who's listened to my AEW video will know that even though I struggled with all of that pay-per-view, I particularly struggled with the tag matches, with the multi-man matches, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how the commentary does in terms of keeping me up to the date with the action in this match, with there being 4 teams involved and it being a ladder match, so it's essentially tornado rules, I would assume. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether I actually manage to keep up with that and get something out of it, or whether I get as lost as I did with the Double or Nothing matches. But that was a little bit of a ramble, so sorry about that. Yeah, the Fatal 4-Way. Oh, where would I go with this? Well, this would be my second Undisputed Era win of the night. Really think that this would be a really good way to go, with the promise that they've vowed at least a few times now to be dripping in gold by the end of the year. I think this would be just an incredible. I think basically Undisputed Era being this strong during the pay-per-view would be really, really interesting. It almost makes Takeover their pay-per-view. So I definitely have Undisputed Era win. I'm not sure what I'd have happen in the match. I think it's just going to be one of those matches where it's a crazy sort of melee of things that happen, big spots, and honestly, I'd just have it be one of those things where everyone gets wiped out and Fish or O'Reilly just climbs the ladder really exhausted and just manages to bring those belts down, and then they're the tag team champions. As for reality, I don't think they're going to go with Undisputed Era on this one. They're definitely not going to go with Forgotten Sons, and they're definitely not going to go with Birch and Lorcan. So you're looking at the Street Profits or Undisputed Era. Excuse me. When I talk for quite a while, my throat gets really, really dry. Yeah, you're left with those two teams, and I think, even though I would go Undisputed Era, I think now might be the time for the Street Profits. They've been pretty hot recently. They've been getting good reactions. A lot of people, including me, thought that they probably should have just won those belts the other week, but they wanted this match, so whatever. Yeah, Street Profits, I think, will be the ones to come out of this on top, but that's not what I would do. The match that I think could be the match of the night, the absolute show stealer, Tyler Breeze versus Velveteen Dream for the NXT North American NXTNA Championship. Really, really looking forward to this. This is what I wanted. It's what they've given me, and I couldn't be happier about it. I really, really would like to see this feud go on longer. So, fantasy. What would I do? This match just needs to be a showboaty match. There's going to be so much wrestling on this show. You know, you've got Strong and Riddle, and there's going to be like submissions in that and ground game. Same with Gargano and Cole. There's going to be a lot of of technical stuff and back and forth and in-ring action. The ladder match will be absolutely crazy. So I think that this really needs to be one of those showboaty matches where they're both trying to one-up each other, sort of begrudgingly sportsman-like. And in my opinion, what I would do is have Tyler Breeze pick up the win here. Keeps Breeze strong, and he's not got a place on the main roster. They're not going to use him, and he's so talented that they just need to keep him down in NXT. Velveteen Dream, if he loses that belt, it's not going to harm him. He's defended it well. He's had a good run with it, a good few matches, and he's just ready to float up into that main event. I want Gargano Dream again, and I just think that once Cole and Gargano are done, I really think that it'd be interesting to get Velveteen Dream versus Gargano. So I'd have Tyler Breeze win here, pick up that NXT Championship. He can have another run as Prince Pretty in NXT, and it just makes him actually gain some credibility back. You know, even if they regain his credibility and they call him up again, in a couple of months or a year's time, I think a run in NXT against these current guys would really, really help Breeze look really strong. I think in reality they'll probably just go with the Velveteen Dream picking up the win, though. I can't see them having Dream drop that title anytime soon, and especially not to Tyler Breeze. It's going to be a one-off thing, and that they're probably just going to try and keep him holding it maybe until Dijakovic can come back. I'm not sure how long that's going to be. So yeah, fantasy. I'd have Tyler Breeze win so that Velveteen Dream can float up to the main event and Breeze can feud with a few other people and have a decent run in NXT. In reality, I think they'll just go with the Velveteen Dream, and Breeze will either stick around in NXT anyway, or he'll just fade off into obscurity and call himself obsolete. Yeah. I hope not, though. I really, really hope not. This one could be, like I said, I think this might be the sneaky match of the night. If not for Gargano Cole, that's the only thing stopping them, I think. In the main event, Johnny Gargano will defend his NXT Championship against Adam Cole for the second time. The most anticipated rematch of this year, apparently. You know, they did that not long ago, advertising Walter versus Pete Dunne too as the most anticipated rematch of the year. I don't know how often they should employ that technique, you know, and I don't know, it just makes it feel less special if every 2 weeks it's the most anticipated match, you know what I mean? Anyway, I digress. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this main event all pans out. It's so close to Double or Nothing that people are still talking about AEW now and probably won't stop until weekly TV starts. It's just going to be really interesting seeing how they tackle having AEW out there now, and seeing how it all sort of compares, because I think that I'm probably going to be one of the only people that comes out of TakeOver probably saying that Gargano Cole was better than Kenny Jericho, because I think anyone with sight that watched Double or Nothing probably really enjoyed it, probably found it like a 6 out of 6. and I'm sure people loved that main event. So it's gonna be really, really interesting, basically, to see if I'm the only one that comes out of that saying that I thought it was a better match, or even if I do think it's a better match. This whole pay-per-view, really, I'm really looking forward to seeing how it compares. So let's get to the fantasy side of things. The story that I've been trying to tell throughout the night would come to a head here. So you've had Strong go over Riddle in a fairly dominating fashion, really, taking it to him, working his back and his ribs and just punishing him, coming out with a really, really nice, strong, clean win. Undisputed Era would pick up the Tag Team Championships in the Fatal 4-Way, and then it's all on Adam Cole. It's just, they're all waiting for Adam Cole to pick up that championship and fulfill the prophecy of being dripping in gold. Cole would come out initially fairly confident, but throughout the match, I think that his confidence would wane. It'd start getting too much for him, too much pressure. Gargano would be getting in his head, playing mind games. Maybe throughout the night, you pepper in those little bits and bobs of promos of Strong, being like, "Good luck, don't let us down," or some backhanded compliment that basically says, well, yeah, I came out on top, but you're probably going to lose. And have, Fish and O'Reilly question his authority, and then he tells them that I'm going to win, and you better start listening to me when I do and show you that I'm the best, or whatever. Just have all that good back and forth action between Gargano and Cole that they can do, but eventually Cole would tap to the Gargano escape, being the only member of Undisputed Era to not pick up a win that night. Now, I just think that's a really interesting story. If you weave it throughout the night, if you have a couple of those little promos that I said, little moments between all of the members, it really makes TakeOver almost Undisputed Era's pay-per-view. The story would just go throughout the night. It'd perfectly cap off these last round of tapings with the Undisputed tension, and I just think carrying on, going forwards with Adam Cole being booted out of the Undisputed Era because he's the only one that let him down. They could have had the NXT Championship in their faction, but Cole just couldn't get it done after he's talked all this trash, to Strong, not only to Gargano but to Strong too, and dividing the group. I just think if he lost, that'd be that last straw and he could get booted out of Undisputed Era. Roderick Strong takes over as the leader. They are a nice tight 3-man unit. You have those 6-man tags. A Forgotten Sons rivalry could be fairly interesting with them, and like I've said before, maybe even bring in another member. Cole, I don't think that he would get brought up yet, because I still think he needs time down in NXT to fully tell all the stories that he can down there. But I think Lone Wolf Adam Cole, although I wouldn't want them to call him that because of the Baron Corbin thing, but it'd be really interesting, because you could almost play it as that Cole is more dangerous now because he cares less. He doesn't have his friends backing him up, so he's more desperate, more vicious, and sort of play that out over the next few months. So when he takes on Gargano for the 3rd time, because you've got to do that 3rd time, I think, he could maybe pick up the belt and he'd be like, well, look, you kicked me out of your faction and now I'm the champion, so what are you going to do there? And even have to fight against Undisputed Era, trying to take his championship, I think would be. I just think it'd be really interesting having Cole out on his own and playing up the fact that he is a lone competitor now, and that makes him so much more dangerous than before. Where I think they'll actually go in reality is, let me think. What have I gone with now? I've gone with they'll have. I'm going to go with the Gargano will retain. I don't think they're ready to tell that Undisputed Era story yet. I don't think they're going to have the dripping in gold storyline, even though I would like that. And obviously, the way that I would play it wouldn't end up with the dripping in gold storyline, but Strong could pick up the championship at some point and easily play it up as like, oh look, now Cole's gone, we're a tight unit, and I've even won the championship. So yeah, I think Gargano will come out on top of this one. He's not had it too long. He's only defended it against one person. So I think they'll want to keep it on him for a little bit longer. So my official reality prediction is Gargano. And my fantasy prediction is also Gargano. I just can't see Adam Cole coming out with the win here. I don't think it's the story that they're telling. And I really, really think that if Velveteen Dream versus Tyler Breeze isn't the match of the night, this one most certainly will be. And I'll be, as I said before, I'll be very, very interested to see how it matches up to the Double or Nothing main event. So those were my predictions for NXT Takeover 25. As I said, I'm really, really pumped for this. NXT it's my thing, man. A lot of people are really, really excited for AEW, and I am too. And I know that a lot of people, you know, everyone's got their own preference, whether it be AEW or you're a Ring of Honor guy or an Impact guy. For me, I'm really an NXT guy. Takeover, every single time that I've watched it, I've just come away thinking that was brilliant, and I'm really, really looking forward to this one because I just think it's a completely stacked card. The stories that have been told going into it have been really tightly told. They're really interesting in my opinion, especially the Undisputed Era stuff, because I just think that there's so many different ways they could go with it. They could have Strong lose and have everyone else win. They could, and at that point Strong gets kicked out of the Undisputed Era and could cause trouble for them. That'd be a bit of a face turn for him. They could have all of them win. They could have all of them lose. So there's just so many different ways that they can now go with the Undisputed Era, and so many different stories that they can tell. I'm just really looking forward to seeing where it goes. So you've heard from me, and now I want to hear from you. How good do you think this will be? Is it going to be better than Double or Nothing, or can it just not match up? What are your predictions? Because quite frankly, I want to know if I do better than you do, because I just like placating my own ego. So leave your predictions and your thoughts in the comments down below, and we'll get a conversation started. Remember, if you want to stay in the loop and never miss an episode of WITD, click that subscribe button and the notify bell, and don't leave yourself out in the cold, basically. Right guys, I'm off, and you should have a good one. Enjoy Takeover.